Okay, Nana, you wanted to say something more about your dad?
Yes, I want to say that my dad was always trying to find ways to make my mother's work easier and also to help take care of us, and the fact that many times we didn't have things that we should have had. Like, we lived in a house for 5 years that had no yard whatsoever, and that's when the twins were babies and just little, and the boys were preschool age, and we had no yard at all. So they found somebody in the church that had like a summer cottage that wasn't too far from our house, and it was close to our church camp. And it was just a one-room building, and it had a small kitchen. It had no running water. It had no bathroom, and it had a great big open space with beds in it and everything. And it was dirty. They hadn't used it for a long time. It had a nice screened-in porch. So my dad said, they said that we could use it for the summer. So he went up there and took down trees and bushes and that, made a play area for the young children, and put swings up. He made an outhouse, dug a hole and made an outhouse so we'd have a bathroom, and we had to cart our water because there was no running water at all. We'd go to camp and get the water and bring it back. And but it was a wonderful summer. I mean, it had a wooded area all around that we could hike in and everything, and then we could walk up to the camp and go swimming. It was a great summer for us because, like I said, we had no place to play all these years when we lived in Waynesboro. And then when we lived in Mechanicsburg, my uncle had a bungalow, which was a little bit further than the other place we had. It was closer to York. However, he had a bungalow, and it had land across the road from it that was all wooded and everything that belonged to him. And he told my dad, he said, if you wanted to get a trailer or a camper and sit it there, you're welcome to have it. Well, my dad could hardly wait to get busy. He found a used trailer that was just like a one-room trailer. It had a big bed in it, no water, no bathroom, the kitchen only had a couple cabs with a counter. It had no stove. We got a hot plates. It had no refrigerator, and it had a place for a sofa. So what he did was he built this huge porch onto it. The porch was larger than the trailer itself. And then he screened it in. I mean, the porch would be the whole length of your house here, and about this wide. And he put a big movable swing that you could lay down and sleep in. And he got a farm table, bigger than the one that you have in there. And he found at sales all kinds of chairs. And he again built another outhouse, and he used for the walls of the outhouse, he got big doors at a sale, and we had 4 doors. And he made an outhouse for us, and we'd go to my uncle's who had a pump to get our water. And then he built all kinds of things for the kids to swim, because it had a lake that went by, and we could go swimming in the lake, or we could, my brothers made like some kind of a floating device. They used great big barrels for underneath of it and put logs, and we spent many summers up there. It was a good place for us to all go during the week in the summertime. It was a wonderful place, and we could sleep because he had this huge porch, and we had cots so we could all sleep out there. And so he was always doing things like that. And in our house, he was always building shelves and this and that and the other thing in the kitchen and stuff to help my mother have more room and more space, and to help make things better. But what he did too, he made furniture, and he made beautiful cedar chests. And he had this one that he built for my mother, and it wasn't a chest that sat longwise. It was what do you want to call it, like a closet type cedar chest. And she was shopping one weekend, and when she came home, all the clothes and everything that was in that cedar chest were on her bed. So my dad's name was Miller. She says, "Miller, why are these clothes on the bed, and where's that cedar chest?" And he said, "Well, somebody came by and they were interested in a cedar chest and they wanted me to build one, and I showed him yours, and he offered me more money if he could have that. So I gave him the cedar chest. I'll build you a new one, don't worry." 10 years later, she got her cedar chest, and it wasn't one like that either, like he had built to start with. But my dad would buy all kinds of saws and machinery to do his woodworking, and then we'd get desperate for money, and so he'd sell it. He did that 3 times, sold everything, and then slowly get the money and rebuy it. And he'd have to sell it again because we needed money. And so he did that 3 times in his lifetime, getting it and selling it and so forth. Yeah.
Okay, so I know that another special person in your life was Aunt Rita. So we're going to talk a little about her and ask you some questions about how she impacted your life. Who was Aunt Rita?
Well, she's my mother's sister and my namesake. I was named after her. And she was a nurse, and she was a wonderful aunt to all of us, because she never married and she loved children, so we were like her children, and she treated us as such. So.
What is your favorite memory about Aunt Rita when you were growing up?
We could always expect Aunt Rita to come with tissues and paper towels because we never had them. We couldn't afford them, but she would always come in with a bag full of tissues and paper towels.
What 3 words would you use to describe Aunt Rita?
She loved people, and she loved life. She never took herself serious. She liked to laugh at herself, and her favorite part of the newspaper were the comics. Mm-hmm. She'd even cut them out and save them. She loved things to laugh about.
Can you recall an important lesson Aunt Rita taught you?
Wash your hands. She'd always say, wash your hands, wash your hands. You never can wash too much. She was a great believer in washing your hands, and that's when I was growing up, so that was a long time ago. Yeah. And she always wanted to make sure everything was sterilized. And she said the sun was your best way to sterilize and kill bacteria. She loved to put anything out in the sun.
Do you ever remember a saying Aunt Rita used to say?
Betty Crocker. Oh yeah, she'd say, "Oh my land," but she also would say Betty Crocker when things didn't go right. She'd say, "Oh, Betty Crocker." Or it's out of this world too. She would say that. Well, it's just out of this world.
Do you remember a funny story about Aunt Rita when you were growing up?
Well, we went down to Ocean Grove. She introduced our family to the ocean. She had some friends that took her down to the ocean. She had never been to the ocean all her life, and she was in her 30s. And they went down to Ocean Grove. It was a religious community. They had all kinds of good services and things in the auditorium. And so that when she came back, she said, "I'm going to save my money and I'm going to take you all down there next year." And that's what she did. She saved her money. And we all went, including my great-grandmother. And the twins were only a year and a half. And she rented 2 apartments that were together for us, and of course, we cooked all our meals in and everything like that. But it was quite an adventure because we had to take high chairs, and we had to take strollers and a playpen and all this for 10 people because she and my aunt went too, and there were 8 of us. So it was quite an adventure, but it was great. I mean, we'd go down and spend all day on the beach. We had a great time. And one time we were sitting on the pier at night, and the moon was huge. And all of a sudden, she gets up and starts running down the pier. And we said, "Where are you going?" She said, "I want to take a picture of that moon, and I want to get as close as I can."
What is one of your fondest memories about Aunt Rita?
Fondest memories. Well, when I was going to college, I worked every summer, and I really didn't have any time off. And one day she said, "I want you to keep the weekend open next week, Friday through Monday, and come down to Ocean Grove with me. And I will put you up in a hotel there. You'll have your own room, but I think you need a break." So she paid for my way down there, and I had a 4-day break at Ocean Grove, and that was wonderful. So,
What was your favorite food or dessert Aunt Rita would bake?
oh my. Well, you wouldn't taste what I wanted you to taste, because that was one of our favorite open sandwiches that she would make with applesauce and cheese and bacon. She would make that often when she would come and take care of us. Because she really wasn't a great cook, because she was by herself most of the time. But she had some pretty good dishes, and she was a baker. She liked to bake. Yeah, banana bread and things like that. And yeah.
Do you remember a funny story about Aunt Rita?
I think I just told you one.
Once you were an adult.
Pardon?
Do you remember a funny story about Aunt Rita once you were an adult?
Oh, when I was an adult. My goodness. Let me see.
No.
I can't remember.